Let's get down to business. Just a quick video here. I just saw the links of Resident Evil Revelations 3 Outrage, and I'm outraged. As of right now, if these leaks are true, and even before the leaks, the Revelation series is basically the female series of Resident Evil. I'm not here for anyone to come in the comments about Resident Evil 3 being Jill's game, because guess what? It got remade, and Carlos was more about it, and more men had things to say about it than Jill. And in addition to that, they're playing games with us. This is games. Rather than just giving women better things to do than just be exposition like freaking Mia was in Resident Evil 8 Village, and eye candy, them being dainty and has to be saved by some guy like in Revelations 2, rather than being the front runners, the ones who literally hold Resident Evil, the franchise itself, up on their backs. You are giving Revelations to the women, while the men get to control the real Resident Evil games. And you have the audacity to bring Leon S. Kennedy up in here. Leon's probably gonna have to hold her hand the whole time. There are people out there who think Revelations is a waste of time. So what is the point of making the main protagonists women? First Jill, then Claire, now Rebecca. Other if not to just say, stay in your place, stay in the back. That's what I get from this. Rebecca coming out of nowhere after years and years of not even being thought of, especially since you guys didn't even bother to remake Zero, trying to make her seem better than what you guys did with her. You're gonna put her in Revelations 3, and I'm pretty sure it's not gonna have nothing to do with the previous Revelations games. People keep telling me, oh, Revelations is a thing on its own. 1 and 2 don't matter, even though if you put 2 next to something, it's supposed to connect. It's supposed to connect. The sole reason why Revelations 1 and Revelations 2 don't connect is because they wrote themselves into a corner, just like they wrote themselves into a corner in The Evil Within, not Capcom, but I'm saying just like that story. They were like, oh, let's just throw everything that you knew about Resident Evil Revelations 1 away because we have no idea how to go from here. We have no idea how to make everything stay the same and go from here. So they did some Long Island iced tea thing with Barry on some random fake island that no one else was a part of. It's just as useless as Resident Evil 4. It's not an anthology series. This is in the literally same timeline. It's not even like American Horror Story where it could be an anthology with different people. It's not even that. It's with the same people from the regular game. All this with the fact that they're going to remake Resident Evil 4, which makes no sense to remake. It makes no sense to remake it. I just want to let everyone know here, it makes zero logical sense. 0 cents. No sense whatsoever. $0 and 0 cents. Oh, you're thinking about money. That's right. You think that it's going to sell out when it's really not. Because the graphics are fine. The only reason why someone remakes something, you would remake Silent Hill 1 and 2 and 3, maybe 3, because the graphics look like boo-boo butt cheeks. Boo-boo butt cheeks. They are garbage graphics. You literally have to figure something to freak out to even look at it without throwing up or getting vertigo. You can't look at them. The graphics are bad. And I'm not to say good graphics equal a good game, because Kingdom Hearts 3 was one of the worst games I have ever played in my entire life. If you want to know my opinion about that, go to my freaking Kingdom Hearts freaking playlist. If you want to know about Resident Evil, go to my Resident Evil playlist. Really easy to navigate. But I'm just here to say, y'all don't care about women. I already said this in my How Misogynistic is Resident Evil video. We already knew this. But I'm just still outraged. I'm outraged. It's a very appropriate name for something we don't need. We don't need Resident Evil 9. We don't need Resident Evil Revelations 3. And we don't need Resident Evil 4 Remake. First off. First and foremost, we do not need another Revelations when you guys dropped the ball on the very last Revelations. The first Revelations, people love to talk about how bad it is. I, for one, actually thought it was pretty good. For one, Jill Valentine is actually a character and not just talked about. She actually has some agency about herself. There's more than one woman there, but guess what? She's simping. Woman simp, throwing herself at some guy rather than just freaking existing. But guess what? She still got what she wanted at the end of the day. She still got the sample of the freaking abyss virus or whatever that freaking virus is called. So many freaking viruses. I can't keep up with them. Sorry. Can't keep up with all of them. But you know what? We don't need a Revelations 3. And if we must have Revelations 3, we definitely don't need Leon S. Kennedy. And we definitely don't need to just keep going with women are basically the backseat of Resident Evil when they're the backbone. They're literally the backbone. How'd you sell Resident Evil 8? On the back of a woman. Yeah, you did. No one would have picked that crap up if you didn't freaking put big old huge breasts in their face. You knew that. Lady Dimitrescu is less than 25% of the game. Less than 25% of the game. And you guys had her at the forefront like she was going to be some ringer, like she was going to be like Salazar and freaking be everywhere. It's just disgusting, and I'm disgusted. You can come at me and be like, oh, just be grateful that women are in the forefront of, no one cares about Revelations. So I'm not grateful. I am very much ungrateful for this. When y'all snubbed Jill Valentine, Claire Redfield, and Rebecca Chambers from Resident Evil 6, every person that was in the game should have been in that game. Helena, who? No one freaking cares about Helena. I don't care about her sister. I literally laughed when her sister died in her arms. I didn't care about Pierce either. Why was Jill not there? Why was Rebecca not there? Why was Claire not there? It would have been a lot less jarring to have Rebecca Chambers in Revelations 3 if she appeared in any other game since 0. 0, like I said, was in hindsight. It was after 1, even though it takes place before 1. Claire was shafted. How are you going to freaking remake Resident Evil 2 and get people interested in Claire again and then ignore Code Veronica? I do not believe that it was not canon. Anyone who thinks Code Veronica wasn't canon obviously didn't see what happened in Code Veronica and how it changes the tide. You take Code Veronica out and things start to not make sense. Oh my goodness, I'm just so angry. So freaking angry. Freaking make me sick. I am not happy that Rebecca's coming back after years and years of being neglected. And then Rebecca's not even in this new Welcome to Raccoon City thing. Interesting. How are you going to get people to want to know or play this stupid game? They're just setting this game up for failure. And they're going to say, oh, it's because of women. When, first of all, like I said, in all these instances, when they throw black people, when they throw any person, and when they throw even a gay person in some place, there is no person that fits that demographic that's getting half as much money as the white person at the top that made it. So don't come at me with that. They're going to blame women for Revelation 3 failing when this makes no sense to put Rebecca here after years and years. No one knows who Rebecca is at this point. The new people who are coming in and started playing these games because of Lady Dimitrescu don't know nothing about Rebecca Chambers. So your best bet is to remake 0 or do something with 0 so people can have their eye on her because no one knows her. They're going to be like, who is this? Who is she? Of course, the real RE fans know who she is, but these boo-boo that came in for Lady Dimitrescu, they're not going to know who Rebecca is, so it's going to flop. I already see a flop. I already see it. And I already know Rebecca's going to fall in line and be the weakling that you made her out to be in the beginning because you have Leon S. Kennedy by her side. He's going to have to save her. She's basically going to be Ashley Graham 2.0 saying, Leon, help. I'm just a weak woman. And then Resident Evil 4, you're going to really make Resident Evil 4 remake when the graphics are literally fine. Literally, they look like freaking Wallace and Gromit, but it's still fine. Have you seen Code Veronica's graphics? Can you please just look at them? Freaking look at you. You can't look at them because it's very difficult to. It is quite difficult to sit there and watch the graphics because it's disgusting. Code Veronica looks more like Resident Evil 1 through 3, who, might I add, all got remakes as of today. As of today, they are all remade for new audiences. But Code Veronica seems to be getting the shaft for some reason. And then you're going to pretend you care about women by putting Rebecca Chambers because nobody that is here that you are trying to get the money from knows who she is. Why are you making these Revelations games not connect? How come 2 was good for nothing? I, for one, hated Revelations 2. I felt like it was too much like a callback, too much like things that weren't necessary. It really seemed unnecessary to me. A lot of things in there that happened seemed very unnecessary. And then you're going to kill off Alex Wesker. Albert Wesker has been a part of the franchise from the beginning, and okay, let me just say this. Zero came in hindsight. But if we are going canonically, Wesker has been alive since Resident Evil 0. He did not canonically die until Resident Evil 5. Why would you introduce his sister and then kill her in the exact same game that we met her? Dumb. First of all, you're misogynistic. You think women are weak because your mom was weak. Just because your mother was weak doesn't mean every other woman out there's weak. So get that out of your freaking mind. Go to a freaking therapist because you need help. Second of all, there was no reason to even do this whole thing. The whole crap that was in Revelations 1, it didn't get fit. Nothing was done from that. Nothing came of that. So why are we on to another story? I'm just kind of confused. I don't understand why we're going on to another story. And then Revelations 3 is another story? Are you serious? And then supposedly Claire is a teacher. Rebecca already working so why are all the women teachers? That's all we're good for? Nursemaids and teachers? That's all we're good for. It's what you guys think. You think that just because women are women, the only thing they can do is teach, be nursemaids, protect children. That's basically all we've seen Claire do for a while. She was taking care of kids in Resident Evil 2. Now she's going to be some snot-nosed kid teacher, preschool teacher or something. That's what she deserves for surviving Raccoon City. She survived the same thing Leon did. And Leon was helped by a woman, Ada Wong. Without Ada Wong, he would have freaking died in 4 and 2. So you can freaking get your misogynistic freaking mouth and freaking change it to say somebody else's name that's weak. Because Claire Redfield is not weak. She literally did the same thing, if not better, than Leon S. Kennedy. And Leon S. Kennedy is getting the freaking Rocky Balboa treatment. Yo, Andrea. Like, he's supposed to be the best guy. The best guy can freaking do anything, can roundhouse kick freaking monsters. But Claire gotta just be a teacher? That's what you're telling me. And then Rebecca is weak. She's always been weak. The only thing you can do is retcon the past and say, oh, well, she's better now. That's the only thing you can do for Revelations 3. That's it. This is all freaking unacceptable. All unacceptable. You need new people helping you out. This isn't working. This is a disgrace and a mockery, and you should be freaking ashamed. It's freaking useless. Freaking piece of garbage. I can't stand this. To think I used to love Resident Evil, but it just seems like I come on here almost every week to tell you guys how bad it is because it's getting bad. One could argue that Code Veronica was a damsel in distress story for Claire by the end because, yes, you get in there, you play, you do stuff, you have agency until the latter half of the story, and then you're in some closet crying. But guess what? That was the brother coming to save the sister. That wasn't as bad as if Leon himself were to have come in his white knight shining armor. The context is different. And guess what? The great, amazing thing about hindsight is you can right wrongs of the past. All you literally had to do to fix Code Veronica was to remake it and do it to where Claire could kill Alexia. Because why is Chris killing Alexia? Why was Chris killing Alexia? Why couldn't Claire do it? But we don't have to ask those questions if you would have just freaking changed it in a remake instead of saying, oh, well, it's not canon and it's a side game and giving me all these freaking excuses. And then you're telling us it's a side game and then you expect us to pay a freaking dime for Revelations, which is a side game. You can't downplay a side game for the reason why you're not going to touch it as a remake and then say, buy this side game for $60. That's not how it works. Either all your games are equal value, or certain games have more value, and I should not pay a dime for Revelations 3. And then, interestingly enough, if that were to happen, y'all still would have blamed women. Gonna blame Rebecca for front running it. You're gonna blame Rebecca for front running this freaking crap when she's literally been absent for years, for longer than Jill. But once you're in a Revelations game, once you head a Revelations game, you're never seen again. We haven't seen Barry even. We haven't seen Barry. We'll never see Carlos again because he's ethnic. We'll never see any ethnic person again. We'll never see Sheva again. And then we barely hope and pray for freaking Rebecca, who is just now coming back, and she's supposedly Asian. They just love to say, they just will do whatever it takes to pretend like they care about ethnic people. I'm just so sick. I'm so sick of them making excuses for their problems. Own up to your mistakes. Own up to it. Freaking scum. If you want to know my opinion about Capcom and their misogynistic problems, how white is Resident Evil video, link is in the description to those videos. I'm outraged. Because, like I said, the women are being told to sit in the back with Revelations, go over their women, and the girls are just have to be dainty. Let's teach a class. Yeah, ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. Enough of it. Like I said, you need help. Whoever's making these stories, you need help. You just need a psychiatric evaluation, because you were in a home where your parents didn't get along, and you saw your mom picking up freaking glass on the floor, and you considered her weak. And then you're gonna project that onto Rebecca Chambers, Jill Valentine, and Claire Redfield. Like I said in my other videos, Rebecca Chambers has always been weak. You can change that because years and years have gone by. I think it's interesting that Leon S. Kennedy is a rookie cop from nowhere. Good for nothing, garbage, trash, nowhere. And then he's going to outrank Jill Valentine, who she been in the force long before him. Strange how that works. And if Leon can be gone for 7 years, literally he was introduced in Resident Evil 2, gone for 7 years. We didn't see hide nor hair of this loser idiot, Leon S. Kennedy, and he comes back and he's a superhero. He should be in that show, The Boys. He's a freaking superhero. You made him a superhero. And then when Chris Redfield got a certain type of way, y'all gonna laugh and be like, oh, was he on steroids or whatever? It's interesting that you guys are blind and you can't just look at one rendition of a character and just remake that with better graphics. I really don't understand the problem with that, though. I really don't understand. Someone needs to tell me the logistics of that. I don't understand how hard it is to just freaking look at a character, be like, okay, that looks similar. Just do it. Just freaking do it. You can edit anything you want. You can animate anything you want. It doesn't have to be real. Chris Redfield has never looked consistent. I don't understand how hard that is. Why is inconsistency your game? Freaking do something else with your life. You do not belong here. Freaking putting all the ethnic people on the floor. Trash. We don't even consider Sheva anything. We don't consider Carlos anything. The only thing I get to cling on to is Claire Redfield, but oh no, she's a damsel. She's a freaking nursemaid to children. She's a freaking teacher to somebody. She's held a gun before, but she's gonna get captured like Princess freaking Peach constantly. Rebecca Chambers gone for freaking years and years and years, and she's still probably gonna be weak. I don't have any doubt in my mind that she's going to be as weak as ever. Got all the e-boys and freaking quarter of a man to laugh at her. Jill Valentine has been MIA for years. She doesn't even have her own movie. Why doesn't she have her own movie? Why did you introduce Leon S. Kennedy years ago and then 7 years later give him his own game? And no matter how long ago he was even in our minds, no matter how obscured his freaking story is, how convoluted, he's got every movie dedicated to him. He kisses every person in every movie. He hits on any person he wants to in every movie. Like, nothing goes wrong for Leon S. Kennedy. He never breaks any bones. He never gets a scratch on him. Freaking, he's a hero. I'm sorry, I must be mistaken, but every incel, a quarter of the man, whoa, this Mary Sue, who nothing ever happens to anything to this woman. She's such a Mary Sue, freaking Captain Marvel. Like, honestly, Leon S. Kennedy's the Mary Sue that you guys are always afraid of. And Ada Wong still swinging from his nutsack. Literally. Can't be an Ada can't even care about Ada because Ada ain't got her own agency. If Leon S. Kennedy isn't there, Ada Wong is absent. She can't even get her own game. She can't even be anywhere by herself. Jill Valentine has been thrown to the wayside. She's been shelved. You've got people talking about bring Jill back because she started this game. I don't think you guys understand what chronological order means. Just because you like 4, just because it got you through tough times, just because you want to project yourself onto Leon S. Kennedy, the freaking Leon S. Kennedy that they created, not something that even could happen in this game where zombies exist and freaking science fiction. The fact that she's sitting here and she started the franchise. Resident Evil 1, if Thanos snapped it out of existence, Resident Evil 4 would go too. But if you snapped Resident Evil 4 out of existence, everything before it still stays. Code Veronica still stays. We don't need Resident Evil 4. Nothing in Resident Evil 4 happens. There are just small, tiny, itty bitty someone whispers Las Plagas somewhere, in some corner somewhere. That's all we get from Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 didn't give us jack. We didn't know who freaking Krauser was, unless you played Darkside Chronicles on a Wii game. That's it. That's all we got from Resident Evil 4. Salazar, Louis Serra, Ashley Graham don't mean jack. She doesn't do anything. Nothing about that story even matters. Even taking out we could have said Resident Evil 6 doesn't even hinder on Resident Evil 4. You guys don't understand how nothing Resident Evil 4 is. Resident Evil 4 is a big pile of smelly nothing. It doesn't affect anything, but Code Veronica certainly does. And you guys are fighting tooth and nail to not even talk about it. Are you afraid of the ramifications of having to have a conversation about the problematic issues in Code Veronica, like the Nazism? But guess what? All the Nazis die, though. So that's off the table. You're not afraid of that because all the Ashfords are actual eugenists. For those who love to say that Albert Wesker is some sort of eugenist, he was a eugenist in the sense of literally genes, not freaking taking all the white people and making hierarchy. Literally, that's not what he did, and that's not what he was for. The Ashford family, you come twisted with the Ashford family. The Ashford family were literally saying that they were obsolete and they were not, like literally, they said to Albert Wesker, a white blonde male, he was obsolete and below and beneath them. They literally say that to his face. So how are you going to say that Albert Wesker is a eugenist in the sense of white supremacy? But you're not afraid of that conversation. Are you afraid of the transgender conversation that we would have to have when bringing up Alfred? A lot of things in media point in the direction of a disorder when talking about transitioning or cross-dressing. We need to have that conversation because that happened in Psycho and people of the transgender community don't like that. So we can have that conversation about Alfred Ashford cross-dressing. It was implied because he was lonely. All ears to any trans person who wants to discuss this. Let's have a conversation in the comments. Do you have a problem with Alfred Ashford sporting a dress because he misses his twin sister? They imply it's because he went crazy. And that is a big issue that happens in media. They love to put someone, even Buffalo Bill from freaking Silence of the Lambs, they blamed it on him being crazy, that he was transgender, or he liked to put on women's clothing rather than it just being a part of his life. Like, rather than he just being like, it could have been handled a lot better. So maybe that's the reason why they don't want to touch Resident Evil Code Veronica. But what I'm saying is it's stupid to even consider a remake of Resident Evil 4, which freaking animation still holds up. Freaking literally that game. The only reason why people like that game, literally, to be honest, even take Leon out of it. Take all the white knight losers, incels that attach themselves to Leon because they think he's cool. Resident Evil 4 paved the way for other games. The over the shoulder, all the techniques, every single move that you see Leon do, for the most part, people have sampled and used for other games. the way that the enemies move, the way that they come at you. If you see what it means for gaming, yeah, it was a trailblazer. But if you are talking in the context of Resident Evil, the timeline, the freaking story itself, you could literally throw Resident Evil 4 into a freaking abyss and no one would even care. The only people who would care are the people who are clinging on to any hopes that Ada Wong will be able to be her own character, separated from Leon S. Kennedy. And as long as she's holding on to his left nut, that's not going to happen. They kicked her out of Resident Evil 8 because they short circuit when Ada Wong is in a different scenario without Leon S. Kennedy. That's the only reason why. There was really no reason for Chris Redfield to be a part of Resident Evil 8. To be quite honest, I think the 7 and 8 should have been a separate game from Resident Evils, but they decided to put them in order. They decided to do that. Now, Revelations even connects closer to the regular games than Resident Evil 7 and 8 do. If not for shoehorning Chris Redfield in both of those games, and they're both unrecognizable models, which I have no idea how you even do that. It's one thing to have a person and just switch them and change them. It's a freaking difference when you can just animate anything on freaking Earth. You can animate anyone looking like anything. So why did he look like that? Chris's appearance has been such a joke. That people literally hypothesized that this new umbrella that was blue, they were like, Chris wouldn't possibly align himself after everything we've seen him go through with Umbrella, a rebranding. He wouldn't fall for a rebranding. They thought this dude was an imposter. He didn't look like him and he wasn't acting like him, especially since they called him not a hero. Are you serious? Play Code Veronica and tell me he's not a hero. That's why we need a remake, because these skinflint loser bums who just came in and pulled up because, oh, Resident Evil looks like Call of Duty now, don't know nothing about the real Chris Redfield. They see this not a hero, and then they see this superhero Leon S. Kennedy, and then they see all the damselized women. It just seems like you guys are literally blindfolding yourselves before you get down to work, and you're trying to move around and navigate without living the life of a blind person. Without even knowing Braille or anything, you guys are just like, okay, let's get this started. Get this done. That's what you're doing. It's stupid and dumb. And I'm so sick of it. And I'm really angry. And I'm outraged. And I'm done. I can't talk about this anymore. I cannot talk about this anymore. I am done.